I've been saying plan now, plant later. Well, now it's time to plant. This is where the fun part comes. You can plant your square foot garden with the seeds and seedlings that will create the most productive and exciting vegetable garden you've ever seen. I'm Dr. Denise DeBusk, and in this video, I'll guide you how to plant from seed, start seeds indoors, and plant transplants. Most square foot gardens can grow from spring through the fall. Some warmer areas can grow year-round. In the early spring, a square foot garden will warm up enough to germinate seeds considerably earlier than garden soil since it is very porous. You can also protect against cold snaps easily since it is more compact. I'll talk about that in another video. You can start planting cool season crops in some of the grids while leaving some squares open for your warm season crops, or plant a cool season crop that has a short amount of days to harvest, then plant a warm season crop. Cool season crops grow best in the cooler temperatures of the spring and fall and do not thrive well in the hotter months of summer. Warm season crops do better in late spring and the summer. Ideally, you can get 3 harvests of crops out of a single square during the year by rotating the crops. Cool season crop in early spring, warm season crop in summer, and cool season crop in fall. In warmer climates, it will be slightly altered. So you will plant warm season crops late summer, cool season crops late fall and early spring, and warm season crops during spring. You may think that if you are going to plant in spring, then you should aim for March 20th or 21st, since that is the first day of spring. Your plants don't look at the calendar. The most important date is the last frost date in your area. Crops have an ideal planting time based on weeks before or weeks after the last frost date. In the fall, the first frost will kill some tender plants, but the real end of the growing season is based on the day of the first freeze, since a hard freeze will kill everything on ground level. You can find your local first and last frost dates on the Old Farmer's Almanac website. Keep in mind that you may have a frost before or after what is stated. For example, my first frost date in Claremont, Florida is January 4th. But we had a couple of unexpected frosts in December, and we didn't have any frosts in February. Spring planting is not just as simple as a last frost date. Soil and air temperatures affect how quickly a plant germinates. For example, carrot seeds will sprout in less than a week when the soil temperature is between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can take up to 6 weeks to sprout in 40 degrees Fahrenheit. If the soil is too cold, it won't sprout and may be killed by a fungus or be food for insects or birds. In the table, you can see some of the germination rates based on temperature. There are more germination rates in the Square Foot Gardening book. You have the option of planting your crops from seeds you sow yourself or from transplants purchased at a garden center or started indoors. Buying transplants saves time and effort, but comes at a greater cost. Pennies for seeds versus several dollars for transplants. You also have more options available if you plant seeds compared to a garden center. The biggest setback is that it takes time to grow your own transplants. You may want to wait on growing your own transplants if you are just starting. Although some seeds are easily handled with your fingers to be planted, others are so tiny that they're nearly microscopic. Practice your planting skills before you kneel down to plant in your garden. Practice picking them up and dropping a pinch of seeds onto a white paper and seeing how many you got. Kids enjoy doing this as well. You can also use a small tool like a spoon or tweezers to help. Some small seeds are pelletized so that they are easily handled, such as lettuce, onion, and carrot seeds. You may want to look for these if you struggle with small seeds. This season I placed too many seeds in the holes and I was having to thin them out after they were a couple of inches tall. First, divide your square into the smaller section if it is to be planted with 4, 9, or 16 seeds. You can draw lines in the soil or use a seeding guide. Planting depth is critical to proper sprouting of a seed, and it depends on the size of the seed. In general, a seed's planting depth should be 2 to 3 times the thickness, not the length, of the seed. With tiny seeds like lettuce, all you need to do is press the seed into the soil, while large pumpkin seeds may need to be planted an inch under the soil. Moisten the soil prior to planting. Poke a hole in the center of each section. Tip a few seeds onto your palm and pinch 2 to 3 seeds between your thumb and forefinger and drop them into the hole. Lightly water the grid square using a watering can or bucket of water filtered through your fingers to sprinkle it. It is important to keep the soil moist in the early days. It allows it to break dormancy and send up shoots and send down roots. If the soil dries, then the seed will die. I often water by hand at least twice per day when I've planted seeds, especially if it is warm, sunny conditions. You may want to block the sun with a shade cloth during these first few weeks if possible. Certain crops do quite well if sown directly and are the preferred method. These include beans, beets, carrots, corn, lettuce and other greens, melons, okra, peas, radishes, spinach, and turnips. Certain flower and herb seeds also prefer direct sowing. These include columbine, cosmos, dill, larkspur, marigold, morning glory, poppy, snapdragon, sunflower, sweet pea, and zinnia. Here are a few tips on direct seeding. Many of the larger seeds with hard shells will germinate faster if you soak them in warm water for 8 to 12 hours. These include beans, sunflowers, nasturtium, cucumbers, peas, squash, beets, and pumpkin. You can also soak onion sets and garlic cloves. Corn and okra needs to be soaked overnight. Make sure you plant the seeds right after they have soaked. If all the 2 to 3 seeds planted in the hole germinate, you will need to thin them. You can use scissors to snip the weaker or crowded seedlings at the soil line. As a bonus with thinning, you can usually top a salad with the seedlings you snip off. If you want to transplant them, especially if you made a mistake in your planting, you can carefully dig them up without disturbing the roots too much and transport them to their new location. Handle them by their leaves rather than the stem, if possible, to keep from damaging them. In the square foot gardening method, we want to plant exactly the number to produce the plants we want, so a packet of seeds can last for many years. Because of this, you need to store seeds properly. You will want to store them in a cool, dark, dry place. Refrigerating them in a sealed container can provide these conditions. You don't want any moisture to get in, so you can put a small packet of desiccant in the container. These can often be found in medicine or vitamin bottles. Many crops can be started from seed indoors. Look at your seed packet to see how many weeks before the last frost date that you should start them. You can grow them into good, strong seedlings that can then be planted outdoors. This is especially helpful if you live in a cold climate, so you can take advantage of the short growing window. It gives you a head start, and it is a great way to see some green during the winter. For the square foot gardening method, place fine vermiculite in a plastic cup or shallow container and add water so that it is fully damp. Sprinkle the seeds across the surface of the vermiculite and cover them with a thin layer of vermiculite. Keep them moist until the first set of leaves appear. These are called seed leaves or cotyledons. The leftover vermiculite can be used for Mel's mix. Next, you fill peat or plastic 4-pack transplant containers with moistened Mel's mix. Bore a hole into the center of the soil in each cell of the 4-pack with a pencil. Gently transfer the seedlings by gripping the leaves to the 4-pack containers. If the roots are long, you can trim off the bottom 1/3 with scissors. Use the pencil to pack the Mel's mix around the seedling. Mist the seedling from above or add water to a tray and place the container in it. Put the tray where there is light, either a sunny window or under a grow light, but not in direct sunlight. If you want to build your own grow light, refer to the Starting Seeds Under Light handout. Keep in mind that the recommendation in the handout is based on commercial soil, so fertilizing your plants is required. Mel's mix is great for growing seedlings, and you should have few of the problems that you sometimes get with indoor seed starting. Keep your 4-pack moist but not soaked and place where they get air circulation without a strong draft. If placed in a sunny window, you may need to rotate your plants daily or they will grow towards the light. You do not need to fertilize the seedlings if using maize mix. You can start acclimating seedlings to the outside 2 to 3 weeks before you plant them by placing them in a shady area for a few hours at a time, gradually increasing that time. This is called hardening off. Whether you bought your transplants or started them yourself, they will be planted the same way. Mark the grid the same way you did for the seeds. Make a hole large enough to hold the transplant. For small transplants, you can use a pencil to move the soil to create an opening. Remove the plant from its container. Loosen the roots only if the roots are clumped tightly. Place the transplant in the hole and gently firm the soil around it with a slight depression around the base to hold water. Gently water the plant and keep it moist for several days until it is established. If it is warm out, plant early in the day. You may need to check on it at least a couple of times a day to see if it needs water, especially in warm climates. The first few days are crucial. The plants may wilt initially after transplanting them. If watered, they will perk up in a couple of days. So what are your next steps? Find out your first and last frost dates in your area. Those will be important for you to know. Are you planning on using seeds, transplants, or both? For some crops, seeds are best, so look at your plan. Are you starting seeds indoors? Make sure you have a sunny area for them or make plans to construct a grow light. Check my handout on that. Or purchase one. You can purchase fine vermiculite at most home improvement stores or online so you can get started right away. I hope you learn more about the fun stuff, putting plants in the ground, and feel more confident on what to do.